Welcome to 101. I'm Greg Bassett, your host from the Salisbury Independent newspaper. It's a big day here at PAC 14. We're entering election season, and we will be interviewing every candidate on the ballot in Wicomico County for all the important races, county council, county executive, school board, and the legislative races. And first off today, we have a man running for county executive, Muir Boda. Welcome, Muir.
Thank you, Greg. Good to see you again.
So you are a Salisbury City Council member, you're the Vice President of the Council, and
Yes,
you're
sir.
running as a Libertarian for county executive.
Yes.
Why do you want this job?
Well, my concern was when I watched the last forum in May, I didn't feel good about what I was seeing from the candidates at that time.
This is a forum for the primary, for the Republican primary.
Yeah, I didn't feel that the candidates had a complete grasp of the issues. Some of them couldn't even answer questions about the issues facing our county. I grew real concerned, and so began making plans to run as a Libertarian for the county executive race.
What's the reaction been? What are people saying?
Well, I think a lot of people like having another choice, and 4 years ago they had another choice, and even though Jack didn't win, I think people like having that option on the ballot of not the same two old parties with similar ideas for forever, coming in with some different ideas and different approaches to some things. So people seem to be open to it.
So in the forum that was on PAC 14 last week, you did raise some interesting issues, and one that's sort of carried over in discussion that I've been in with people through the week has been the idea that we're going to need a paid firefighting force, EMT force, EMS force at some point in the county.
Well, it's coming, and it's already here. You've got a lot of issues. This is a national issue of volunteer firefighting. And the people that do it commit a lot of time to it, and the requirements to be a volunteer firefighter, as far as training and everything, it takes a lot of time. And so this is typically a lot of times that people now are using for second jobs or additional income. So it's being, and I know in Salisbury we're struggling with getting volunteers to just first off sign up, and then even getting volunteers to be able to stay committed just because of so many competing things in their lives. So when you look at paramedics and EMTs now, they are paid, but in our county, all of our fire departments are competing against each other for the paramedics and EMTs. And then when you go outside of our county, you've got Ocean City Fire Department, Snow Hill, Dorchester County, and the really big ones, Anne Arundel County, are paying these people a lot of money with benefits and retirement. They don't have that right now. So I think if we plan for a paid EMS service in the county, where the county takes over the staffing, we can provide them really competitive pay, benefits, and retirement. And I think that will attract more people to Wicomico County to come and work in these types of jobs. Now with firefighting, my idea is to have a fire service commission, bring together all the fire departments, the fire chiefs association, the municipalities, and we've got to plan for the next 20, 30 years of what do we want our fire service to be in the county, and how do we get there? And I think there's a lot of things that together, if everybody's working together, purchasing, just if everybody works with the county and we have one contract and they need things, the county is going to be able to get better pricing on stuff that the fire departments need on a regular basis than each individual company going out trying to buy something. So I think we can combine our efforts on a lot of things and help them save money and be more efficient and more effective.
Another issue that you were big on in terms of big ideas in the forum was the idea of affordable housing. Mm-hmm. It seems to me like the county's oblivious to this problem, that historically they don't even think about that. The city spends a lot of time working on this issue. So talk to me about affordable housing, why it's important countywide.
Well, and I think what's going to happen, especially, the other big issue is water and sewer. So a lot of these projects are not going to be built outside of municipalities. And if they don't have the system to support something, they're not going to be able to build things. And some towns might not want to. But as we look at the struggle over the past few years, if you're selling a house, it's a seller's market. And houses are been selling fast. Now it's slowed up this year, but still the cost for housing is at a premium down here. And I think as we look at here as home, and we have created this environment of growth, we're going to start seeing some housing prices going down, rents going down, which in combined with maybe some other affordable housing projects will help make housing more affordable. And so that's kind of the, I believe if you increase the supply, which traditionally you'll see lower costs. And but if you shorten the supply, that's when the prices go up. So it's critical that we make sure we have a healthy housing supply, whether it's for sale, whether it's availability of apartments, and because people want to move here. Our economy's growing, but we don't have the availability of housing. So, and we need it to be in the range that people want to pay for.
You serve on the city council in a strong mayor form of government. The county model is pretty much the same, but it seems like a completely different world in terms of how it's managed.
Yeah.
Our strong mayor is really dynamic in terms of what he does and seems to make the council into a partner through the 2 elected county executives we had and the 1 appointed. This doesn't seem to have the same vibe in terms of the groups working together, trying to solve these problems on a common scale. How are you going to bring that to the county? Can that be brought to the county?
Well, I think Ernie and I both have that perspective of being legislators. And there's always going to be a natural friction between the executive and a legislature. And we have it in Salisbury, but people just don't see it, because a lot of times if the mayor and I disagree on an issue, we'll sit down and talk about it. Whether it's over dinner, whether it's a phone conversation, or I go to his office, and he's had an open door to the council members to work out issues. So I think sometimes it's finding the things that you agree on and go 100% on that. If you disagree on something, there's things I've voted against. There's bills that I've killed or ideas that I've killed. But I think it's the way that we approach everything is there's a relationship of trust. And so we can have those disagreements and not take it personal, not take it political vendettas against each other. I think on the county side, I think the issue is that the county has never really had that type of government, so it's still in its infancy. And so when you're not used to that structure, there's council members who have been around for a while, or people that have paid attention, still are adjusting to that dynamic of having an executive like that. So I think you have to come in and you have to have an open door to all your council members. You have to have regular meetings with them, and you have to start building everything from trust, and focus on what's our end goal. What do we want to do in 4 years as a team? Because if you come in as a team and you take good ideas from everybody and you build that trust so that everybody has that input, I think that's critical to building that working relationship and building that trust. I think there are probably, and this is just conversations I've had with council members over the years, a feeling of lack of communication sometimes from the executive office on issues. And so I think that's something that one of the things I want to make sure that avenue of communication is open and that there's a strong working relationship there. And I think you saw that for a few years. I think one year when Matt Holloway was president, he met with Rick Pollitt almost every week. And they worked on a lot of issues together and accomplished a lot of things. And I think there was a time there where things were working. But I think there were some other council members who complained about, a Republican meeting with a Democrat. Well, the people elected them to serve, regardless of political party. And I think that's what they were doing. And I think that was a good thing. And it's very healthy when leaders do that.
It's interesting on the city council, it's nonpartisan, and I can guess what parties people are in, but it never plays a role.
Yeah, no, because, with all of our issues, there's no Republican way, Libertarian way, or Democrat way to pave a street or fix infrastructure or implement a downtown master plan. It's basic government services and the things that people expect, especially when you choose to live in a city. So you want clean water. You want your sewer plant to properly dispose of the waste that's legal and doesn't harm the environment. So that's standard stuff that everybody knows that there's a right way to do it, and you want to work to that way.
It seems like the county charter is intentionally vague in terms of the responsibilities of the county executive and how they do the job.
Yeah.
So you can rely on the county administrator, the director of administration, to really run things and kind of be the figurehead, or you can really get in there and be the county executive. You can run it any way you want. We saw Rick do it one way. We saw Bob Culver do a little bit of a different way. How do you think you would set yourself up as county executive?
Well, I think it would. You look at the models of like a mayoral system, and I think that's really kind of how it should be. But I think there needs to be bigger partnerships between the county and the towns. And I think one of the most important things is bringing back that PIO position, a public information officer. And under that, I would like to see a constituent services program with something like we have with the Citizen Reporter in Salisbury, where if there's an issue with the playground, somebody could go in and report it and creates a ticket and they can go fix it. So I think, I would probably be a very active, in my mind, a very active county executive. And it's, the role is I look at it kind of like a general services role. You're partners with everybody. You're partnering with education. You partner with the sheriff, state attorney's office, clerk of the court, everybody that has a piece of the budget that comes through. So you don't dictate and run those areas because they're all duly elected. But there's a partnership there that you have to have, and especially with their budget items. And the same with the Board of Education. You don't dictate policy, withhold funds. You're required with the maintenance of effort to fund the schools. So is there things that we can discuss about teacher pay and school construction? Yes, I think that should be a part of the conversation. But it's a partnership. You're not forcing it to people, and you're not dangling the money over there. Education is an important part of our economy. And this is our future workforce and our future leaders of our county and country. So I believe we need to work with everybody and make sure that we do the right thing and not create an era of chaos and uncertainty.
One of the things you pointed out too is reorganizing government, and this sounds bureaucratic, and I don't know if voters are going to, really latch on to something like that. But I have seen the city, the city reorganized, and I thought, well, they're just changing everyone's title, everything will be the same because it's a bureaucracy. But it really has changed things in terms of who's responsible for what, and it kind of gives them a ownership of a certain area of need in the city, and it seems to have been very effective.
Well, it created a better sense of efficiency and defining tasks. So you had the conglomerate that was Public Works, and it broke it up. And you had, you got your field operations group that basically they're the guys that take care of everything you see in the city, the parks, the sidewalks, the streets, picking up your trash, all that's run under that. But then you take your Department of Infrastructure and Development, and they're the ones that are planning everything. They're the ones that are all your engineers and managing all your projects. And I think that's, the county needs to, when we, especially with water and sewer coming on, you're going to have to create another department. And I think there's some things that are being done in Public Works that could be moved over there. And I think if you broke Public Works up into that field operations aspect, where their job is taking care of the parks, taking care of the roads, and then you bring that position of Public Works Director requires a specific type of degree. If you create that Department of Infrastructure and Development and work it with the Planning Department, I think that's going to be more focused. And if they're more focused on that, I think they're going to be more successful at planning the projects and developing projects that need to happen throughout the county.
All right, give us your 1-minute pitch. Why should we elect you as the county executive of Wicomico County?
Well, between all the candidates, I've got 28 years of management experience and experiencing in managing teams, building teams, working in complex retail environments with hundreds of people that you're responsible for. None of the candidates, the other two candidates, have that level of management experience, and the executive position requires that. 7 years on the Salisbury City Council, I understand government budgeting. I've been through a government restructure, so I know how to go about that. And I've served as president of the Eastern Shore Association of Municipalities, which represents 56 towns and cities throughout the Eastern Shore's 8 counties. So I understand small towns, I understand big towns, I understand villages. So I bring that level of experience to the job.
He's Muir Boda. He's a city councilman in Salisbury. He's running for Wicomico County Executive as a Libertarian, and we're thrilled he had time to be with us here today. Thank you, Muir, for being here.
Thank you, Greg.
I'm Greg Bassett from the Salisbury Independent newspaper, another edition of 101 right here on PAC 14. Be sure and see all the candidate interviews on the PAC 14 YouTube page.